PIPS on location. We're the new partners in public safety. I'm Inspector Frank Maule of the Wilmington Fire Department. On this month's show, we'll be going over fire safety tips for the holidays. First, we're going to be going over electrical fire safety tips. With me today, we have Firefighter Vinnie Denisio. Before Firefighter Denisio came on the fire department, he was a journeyman electrician. Thank you, Firefighter Denisio, for being with us here today. Could you tell the audience, how long were you an electrician before you came on the fire department?
I was an electrician for 6 years, and my training included a 5-year apprenticeship with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So today what we have here behind us, we have a few of our little props back here. Why don't we start with the holiday tree we have here, the actual Christmas tree. Could you tell the audience what things they should be looking at to make sure that they're safe when they are putting up a Christmas tree and with the lights?
Sure. You just want to make sure all your lights are in working order. Make sure there's no frays in the wire, or no light bulbs that have been melted, or anything that's out of the ordinary, any signs of damage.
Okay.
Another safety tip when your lights are on a Christmas tree, if you do have a real Christmas tree, make sure you properly water it, because a dry Christmas tree is very flammable, and the little amount of heat and any malfunction in electric could definitely cause a fire.
Great, okay. What we have here today, we do have some wiring. We did bring some stuff in here that we could show the audience. This is some of the things they should be looking for, correct?
Absolutely. Any kind of frayed wiring or exposed copper conductors is definitely a danger when it comes to electric.
And this is what normally would start a fire in a tree?
Absolutely. Something like this would cause a short, which could cause arcing, which is sparking, which causes heat buildup and essentially could start a fire.
Okay. Now, with the artificial trees, are you familiar, will they protect this more than a real tree?
It's hard to say. I mean, the things that are made up in the artificial trees with the plastics, and they can also be very flammable. So your best protection is to make sure your electric is in proper working order.
Great. We also have here, we can show the audience too, this is what a major fray wiring would look like.
Absolutely. This is missing the outer sheath that protects the inside conductors of an extension cord or any cord attached to any kind of electrical device. For it to properly do its job, it all has to be insulated, and this insulation protects it from fraying and also protects it from heat buildup. And it's all how it's manufactured. It has to be intact to be properly used.
Okay. Why don't we come on down here a little bit? Now, we do have several things here for the outlets. We have some surge protectors here. These are things that the audience should be using, correct, when they're doing electrical with the holidays?
Yes. What you want to do is, if you do have to plug multiple things into an outlet, you want a good quality surge protector. They're designed that if there's a malfunction in electric, they will automatically trip an internal breaker that will stop the buildup of heat or any kind of short circuit that may happen if you have a failure in your electrical system. So it is, these are designed for multiple things to be plugged into, where your normal outlet, if it just has, what you have here, Frank, is a splitter. This allows multiple connections in an outlet with no protection that a surge protector has. So that can cause increased buildup of heat. The more you draw, the more heat is produced, and it could cause failure of the electrical outlet itself, failure in the wires.
And that would be what people most of the time would call an octopus, correct? When it's coming off, you have multiple things
multiple wires coming back to one source that's not protected. They're rated certain amperage, and you don't want to go over that amperage by putting multiple outlets, multiple plugs in the outlets.
Okay. Now, one thing we also recommend to the audience, we don't want to put wires or extension cords underneath carpeting.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. Why is that, Vinny?
Well, if you have a loose carpet and it's constantly rubbing on your extension cord, it can break down on the layer of insulation and cause exposed wires, which would cause a short.
So basically, you would get this type of wiring.
Exactly.
And then you could have a fire in the rug.
Right, and it could also, when you cover that electrical wire, it can't release its heat. So you want to be able to, it wants to release the heat. A buildup of heat underneath that carpet could absolutely create an unwanted situation, which could cause a fire.
Okay. Now, one thing we want to talk about too, Vinny, We want to talk about the outdoor lighting. A lot of people put a lot of stuff up
Yes.
on their houses, on the roof, on the siding. Could you tell the people what they should be, the audience, what they should be doing
Sure.
correctly and not doing?
Right. Just like with the indoor lighting, you want to examine all your extension cords and lights for any signs of wear, any nicked wires, or any light bulbs that have melted, anything that's abnormal.
Okay. Now, should they be looking for what lights are saying outdoors and indoors? They should be looking at the labels.
Exactly. Some lights are not rated for outdoor use, so make sure your lights that you're using outside are just like it said, rated for outdoor use. It should say on the tag or on the box if it is rated to be used outside.
Okay. Now, when they're using extension cords outside with these lights, it should be like a heavy-duty type of extension cord, correct?
Yes.
Now, should they also be wrapping the electrical tape around, the male and female ends of the of the extension cord?
Yes. When you make your connections, whether it's your light strands or your extension cord, if you wrap them with electrical tape, it can help prevent any water that will get in there during snow or rain or anything like that. Okay. When it comes to water and outside, as we all know, water and electricity do not mix.
Right.
So what you want to do is, if you have a GFCI outlet, ground fault circuit interrupter, you want to use that outlet for your outside lights.
Okay.
If you don't have one, you can buy a GFCI outlet that you can just use as an extension, and it will protect your whole circuit from a ground fault.
Oh, okay, great. Now, should they also be using the same as indoors? Should they be using something like this outdoors also?
Absolutely. The same thing. They'll protect you from overloading a circuit, but you want to, just like with the lights, make sure it's rated for outdoor use.
Okay. Now, what should they be looking for, like say, if they have breakers or fuses in the house? How would they know that they're overloading or not overloading their outlets?
Right. If you have too much into your outlet and it's drawing too much current, a breaker is designed to trip.
Okay.
So if you lose all your power, if you have too many lights plugged in, it might completely go out. So if you check your breaker box and you can reset it, if it continues to trip, I would recommend you consult a qualified electrician because there may be a greater problem than just overloading your circuits.
Okay, great. Vinnie, we want to thank you for being on the show today. Now we're going to be going next. We're going to be doing fire safety in the kitchen. We're in the kitchen now. The months of November and December are our biggest months that we have kitchen fires. It's due to the amount of people cooking in the kitchens these type of months. One of the things that we encounter most of the time are unattended cooking fires. On today's show, we're going to be talking about this. First, I'd like to welcome today's show my lovely wife, Melissa. She's here to help us today. My wife, she's the one that does most of the cooking in our household, so she's here to assist me. Now, before we start, one of the things I want to cover is actually the way Melissa looks is the way you should be getting ready to prepare to cook, especially if you're doing something on the stove where you're going to be using a lot of grease. Now, she has an apron on. One of the things she also has here behind me, she has oven mitts, and she has a pot holder ready. So these are some of the things that you want to have when you get ready to cook so you don't burn yourself. Another thing behind Melissa, she has one of our fire extinguishers. Now, every household should have a fire extinguisher in it. You should have it in your kitchen area prepared. We normally like you to have it hanging on the wall somewhere around the stove, but just away from it, so if you do have to use it with the stove, that you're not going between you and the fire. Another thing, the way Melissa has her shirt today, she's wearing a sweater, but it's usually pretty tight to her skin. So that way she's not having any loose clothing dangling over top of the flame while she's cooking that could set her clothes on fire. Okay? One of the things we have back here, she's getting ready, we're simulating her having a stovetop cooking demonstration here. She also has a lid ready to go in case you have a fire on your stovetop. You have a lid that you can put right over top of your pan and you can smother the fire right away. Now we're getting ready to simulate what a stovetop fire would look like. So what we're doing, we're basically putting some alcohol in a pan. We've put the alcohol in the pan, and I'm going to light it with a lighter. Okay, what we have is we have the fire going right now. Melissa, could you come in and go ahead and put the pan over, or lid over top the pan? Okay. And what we do is leave this for several seconds to make sure the fire is completely smothered out until it stops smoking and we feel that it's cool. Now, as you can see, we have the fire out. We still have the lid on the, over top of the pan to ensure that the fire is completely out. What you want to do is, Melissa, go ahead and just reach over real nice and easily. Take the lid off the pan just nice and slowly to make sure the fire is completely out. As you can see, you have a little bit of smoke that comes off of it, but that's condensation and a little bit of steam. As you can see, the fire is now out. You can go ahead and put that back on now, Melissa. Thank you. Now, what I would suggest to the audience, once the fire is completely out, I would remove the pan from the stove and bring it over and put it into the sink. Never ever, whatever you want to do is take the pan while it's on fire and put it into the sink. Do exactly what we did right here. Shut the stove off, make sure the lid is on the pan and the fire is completely out before you move it. I would leave it there for a good several minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, to make sure that the pan is completely cool before you even attempt to move it. One other thing, if Melissa could turn the pan, this is another thing what we ask the audience to watch out for. You never want the pan to be turned this way with the handle facing out. You always want to have the pan to either to the left or right. Melissa, go ahead and take that back. As you can see, this way you won't be bumping into the pan. You wouldn't be able to spill it, and it would come on top of you. If you have hot grease or any type of hot food inside there, that would burn you or cause a splattering fire with the grease hitting the flame underneath and starting a fire. Another thing, back in the corner, we have a thing of paper towels, a roll of paper towels back in the corner there. You never want to have loose paper towels near the fire. All you need is a gust of wind or something to blow over top of it. It would land into the flame of the pilot, and you could have a fire. What we recommend is that you have a paper towel holder or a dispenser like we have here on the wall. That way, everything is safe. Well, Melissa, we'd like to thank you for being on the show today. Our next segment we're going to go into, we're going to be talking about general fire safety for the holidays. We're going to now be talking about general fire safety tips for the holidays. With me today we have Inspector Beverly Wilcher of our Fire Prevention Unit. Now, Beverly, thank you so much for being here on the show again with us.
It's my pleasure.
What we have here from us are different types of candles. I know during the holidays people like lighting candles. We do have a lot of fires start by candles over the holidays. Could you tell the audience some of the candles we have here, what they should be doing and looking out for, and how to be safe doing it?
Sure. First of all, I want to say people burn candles all the time, all year long, but they burn them more around the holidays.
Okay.
So I didn't want us to give the impression that that's all the time that they burn candles.
Okay.
So what we have set up here is just some various candle burning materials. At the front here we have a glue gun. Now, no one would ever believe that you could get hurt from a glue gun, but the temperature that comes from the glue gun, it has to get hot enough. It's over like 1700 degrees.
Oh, wow.
It could get that hot.
Okay.
And so you want to use extreme caution when you're using a glue gun. Make sure that all your materials that you're going to be working with are right there around you, that there's no children, there's no pets.
Okay.
That you could also get easily distracted using the glue gun. And you go to lay it down, and the list goes on and on of all the possibilities that could happen. But a glue gun, no one ever thinks that you could get hurt.
Okay.
So you can. Okay. Now, also, we have some candle holders, menorahs,
Okay.
for the Jewish holiday,
Right.
which is upon us or near us. So again, it calls for candles. So we just want to make sure that everyone, as they burn them carefully.
Right.
We want to make sure, again, keep the pets and children away from the area that the candles are burning.
Unless mom and dad or an adult are with them while they're doing that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes, that is important. Now, this is something that we just learned about. See how pretty this candle is?
Yes.
And the gold coating, we were just told together how a person was burning this candle and they walked away, and when they came back, the candle was in flames. It wasn't just the wick, but the whole candle was in flames.
Right.
So it is the gold coating on the outside, even though it looks pretty, but a hidden danger.
Right.
So candles that look like this, is that coating on the outside. You have to use extreme caution. We'll always say never leave the room if you have an open flame burning.
Right.
Open flame, so you want to keep it supervised. Right. Now, there's the hot thing on the market now is battery operated candles or flameless candles.
Right.
Okay, so we have a couple different styles here, because when you say battery operated, maybe people think that they won't get the decorative ones, but now these battery operated or these flameless candles come in all kinds of styles, and it is just also a safer alternative to open flame. If you happen to go to sleep and leave the switch on, the only thing it's going to do is wear the battery down.
Right.
And you just put it out and put another one in.
Right.
Okay?
Now, with these candles, Bev, you make sure that they're away from curtains.
Oh.
And if they're on a table, could you tell the audience about, what they should be doing and not doing with that?
Well, you just said it, my friend.
Okay.
That if you're burning your candles in an area, make sure that it's at least 3 feet or even more away from curtains or anything that could attach itself. Always the pets.
Right. Like especially cats from
Especially cats.
We've encountered, because they jump on everything.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So you want to make sure that if you're burning, that they're being burned in an area where a little fluffy can't jump up
Right.
on the counter or on the table, or you want to keep them away, gate it off in some kind of way, But
One thing you and I talked about this morning too, when we were setting this up, we were talking about the wicks. How we should, could you tell the audience about the wicks, about trimming the wicks?
you just did.
Okay.
But as you're burning your candle, if the flame looks like that it's burning all out of control, then always take a look at the wick and just cut it back. And it's a more controlled burning with the wick. But also, remember we talked about alternatives,
Yes.
right? So now this is a candle warmer. When we burn candles, we burn them a lot of time for the scent.
Okay.
And this is just a safer alternative. This you just plug in and you just set the jar candle on the plate here.
Oh, okay.
And it's enough to have the candle wax is going to melt down, and then the scent of the candle is going to go out into the air.
Without lighting it on fire.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
It's just another safer alternative.
Right.
Now, if we have just freestanding candles like this, we want to make sure that you could put it in this decorative. Now, maybe not this one. This
Right.
one's going home with me. But in a container, and even if you just wanted to add a little water in there, just so as it burns down, then it will burn in a reservoir and it won't get all over your table or whatever it's sitting on, and it'll be in a more controlled area.
All right, great.
Does that make sense?
Yes, very much so. Now, one thing left we have here, we have the lighters and we have the matches. We go ahead and discuss this with the audience about the lighters and the matches.
Well, they're dangerous. And they're dangerous in the use, in the hands of children. So you want to keep them up, you want to keep them out the way, so little Johnny or little Susie cannot get to them. No one wants to have a fire, but especially this time of the year.
Right, all right. So you want to lock them up if you have to, you know, wherever you lock up.
Yes, lock them up, put them in, lock them in your glove box and
Right.
or whatever it takes. It may seem like overkill, but anyone, if they know someone who's had a fire and it could have been prevented,
Right.
talk to them about how extreme measures that they would have or they could have done to prevent the fire from happening. And I'm sure they would tell you they would go to the highest, whatever they needed to do to prevent that fire from happening.
Okay. Well, Bev, thank you for being on the show today. These were some really great holiday tips. And before we go, I'd like to wish you a happy holiday.
And you as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks for watching PIPS on Location. But before we leave, we want to remind our audience, with the winter months coming up, make sure you have your heaters and fireplaces checked by a professional. Also have them checked for leaks for carbon monoxide that may be leaking into your home. On behalf of PIPS and the Wilmington Fire Department, we want to wish our audience a safe and happy holiday. We'll see you next time on PIPS on Location.